Wow, it's like magic. Hey there, welcome to Making the Tour. As always, I'm your host, Justin Fox. Today we're going to talk a little bit about one of the things that I think is one of the three pillars. Yesterday was our first episode of Making the Tour. I guess first in a long time, because way back in the beginning, Pat and I don't know if people have been following along for the past 2 years. We sat down, we made 3 Making the Tour videos back probably about 2 years ago. But anyways, this is the second video. Yesterday, obviously, pretty excited. You know, we announced the 3HL Champions Cup, which will be Saturday, April the 14th at Ted Reeve Arena. It'll be a 12-team event. The first 8 teams, so the first 4 games will be the bottom 8 teams. They will be playing a play-in game with the winners advancing to the 8-team tournament. So the play-in games will be in the morning, and then the 8-team tournament will start at 3 p.m. So be sure to check that out. Anyways, so yesterday touched on a number of different topics. Was a little bit harried, a little bit rushed, I guess. Maybe a little bit overexcited in anticipation of creating the Making the Tour video. But one of the things that I think we touched on that has been one of the keys, at least to me, for the 3HL, or one of the key components of the 3HL, is the concept of opportunity. So when you're looking at opportunity, I think, you know, there's a couple different things that I look at. So, you know, I mentioned yesterday we've made some, you know, mistakes. There's some things that we've done, you know, that, you know, where we've, you know, maybe stepped up a little bit or slipped up a little bit, sorry. But one of the things that I truly believe in, and I feel a core value or belief or pillar of the 3HL, is opportunity. And it's the opportunity that we want to provide the you know, Canada's elite pro hockey players with an opportunity to play professional hockey right here in Canada. Now, maybe I'll have to explain that a little bit. So people might say, well, hold on, Justin, they already play pro hockey, or they already have the opportunity to play professional hockey. I would argue that they don't. And you know, I can make several cases in instances where I would think there's players in our league currently who have had to quit or have given up the opportunity to play professional hockey because of the fact that there wasn't an opportunity to play hockey right here in Canada. They were forced to play professional hockey, whether it be in the US or overseas, and as a result, if they weren't making a lot of money, you know, the sort of, you know, dare I say, their family and friends and other people, you know, would sort of force them to possibly give up on their dream, give up on their passion, give up on the thing that, you know, they have pursued their entire life to being a professional hockey player, to give up on that because they weren't able to, or people say, you know, reality check or come back to reality. And I've had conversations with the players. Mind you, I mean, personally, I've never been in that type of situation. For those of you who know me, I was not a great hockey player. While I played my entire life, I loved it and I tried hard. The skill just wasn't there. But I've spoken to a lot of the players who are highly skilled, you know, maybe a little undersized or for whatever reason just didn't make it to the very top, to you know, the NHL, to making millions and millions of dollars, who are just that next step below, who due to circumstance basically had to give up on the opportunity to play professional hockey because life forced them to make a choice to pursue some other aspect of their life. I'll repeat that. So, somebody who had spent, you know, let's call it thousands and thousands of hours, 10,000 plus hours. So they're an expert. They're in their craft. They are, you know, some of the highest rated OHL players, some of the highest rated, you know, prospects, top scorers in the OHL, Memorial Cup champions, you know, players who have excelled at the highest levels of junior hockey, have gone on to play. They've played professionally, whether it be in the NHL, the AHL, the ECHL, even in Europe. But for the most part, at least players currently that we've been working with have had to choose or have given up the opportunity to play professional hockey because they couldn't make a living at it, or they decided that the sacrifice of living outside of Canada and pursuing that dream was not worth the maybe the reward of what they were getting, and they wanted to come back to reality, as they put it. Now, what does that have to do with the 3HL? So this is a bit of a rant. What does that have to do with the 3HL? Well, the 3HL tour is exactly that. I believe one of the core, as I mentioned, core pillars of the 3HL is the 3HL tour. Our goal, and one of the pillars of the 3HL, is to provide an opportunity for Canada's elite hockey players, pro hockey players, to play professional hockey right here in Canada. Meaning, they have the opportunity to earn a decent wage, to earn a living playing pro hockey right here in Canada. What that means, though, is they get the added benefit of not only playing professional hockey, but also being here in Canada, close to home, where they, during the rest of the week, can be with friends, family, loved ones, and can possibly, at the same time, while they're playing professional hockey, pursue other aspects of their life. Whether that be looking at possible careers outside of hockey or other aspects of their life. I use the example, and this is, I mentioned some of the mistakes that I feel that we made or that have been made as we've grown or as we've developed the 3HL Tour. And the one that I mentioned is the consistency component. I use the analogy, if we were starting a new business and we were looking for top talented, sales reps or any other type of, staff, we would not be able to find staff if we were only hiring for 1 day a week. We could not poach or bring in staff or entice them to come to our new company if we were only offering them a 1 day a week job. Because in essence, they would look at it as a 1 day a week job. They would treat it like a 1 day a week job. It would be a part-time thing. There would be sort of a low commitment factor. But if we were to then take that business and hire somebody and look at it for a 5 day a week job, we would then obviously be able to attract better talent, and not necessarily even better talent, but we would then get their full commitment, and they would then commit to that as their full-time job. And that, to me, is one of the issues that we faltered with the 3HL, is we came into it offering a 1 day a week job, a part-time, once every couple week tournament, where yes, maybe they could make a little bit of money, but it became less of a focus. Whereas now the idea going forward, or what we will be doing for next season, and with the jump off here in a month from now on April 14th, is we will be offering a full-time, permanent pro hockey opportunity for Canada's elite pro hockey players, and they don't necessarily have to be Canadian, but primarily Canadian pro hockey players, to play professional hockey right here in Canada. The difference with that being, I believe if some of the players who are in our league right now, if this opportunity existed 3 to 5 years ago, they may not have quit, and they would have, continued to play pro hockey at that high level. So we're going to expect them to be in shape. We're going to expect them to compete. We're going to expect them, there's going to be a lot of competition for jobs in this league. Right? This is no longer going to be a once every couple weekends, men's league type of league. This is going to be a true professional hockey league environment where we will go from venue to venue. Teams will have structure. There'll be coaches, GMs. Everything will be done, all in order to provide hockey players here in Canada an opportunity to play professional hockey. So that's what we were talking about, opportunity. So, as I mentioned, the 3HL Tour, we are going to be launching season 3 over the next, couple of weeks. We're going to be capping off season 2 at the 3HL Champions Cup at Ted Reeve Arena. We've got the 12 teams. One thing that I actually, before I kind of end this video here, one thing I did leave out, and I think is very important to state, that I think is often overlooked, and it's one of the things that a lot of the fans, a lot of people have commented on, as far as the players currently in the league and the players that will be in the league sort of as we progress. I truly believe, and I've talking about the word opportunity. I think it's been a great opportunity for me, to meet and to discuss and talk with a lot of these players, about their lives, about their careers, about their progression through their junior into their pro careers, and really get to understand them. And one thing that I think is really sort of unfortunate that maybe fans don't get is these players that are currently in our league, and that majority of them, or some of them, or a lot of them, will play as we progress forward. They're amazing, highly skilled hockey players. A lot of them, all of them, are great people as well outside. Some of the nicest people I've met in a long time were some of the players in our league. So I think from a fan perspective, understanding that these guys, if given the opportunity 3 years ago, they would have chosen the 3HL the way it will be. And in 3 years, the 25-year-old that's currently in another pro league will make that choice to play in the 3HL. It really maybe will resonate with fans how skilled these players are. I mean, don't quote me the exact stats. I think it's 0.00012% of hockey playing males in Ontario or in Canada make a career out of in the NHL, so the 400 game minimum. So I think it's like 1 in 6,000 or something like that make a career in the NHL. The players in our league are not the 6,000th player. They're the second guy in that 1 of 6,000. They're not even the third guy or fifth guy. They're the second guy. They're just below that level, or they're the third guy. They're right there. They are the cream of the crop. They are the best players around. And so we are going to take that, and I think, again, another thing that I left out of yesterday is obviously the excitement aspect. We'll talk about that in another video, but 3-on-3, most exciting, fast-paced, entertaining hockey there is. But I'm going to end it with that. If you guys have any questions, comments, be sure to comment below. Be sure to subscribe. This is actually on Facebook, so like us on Facebook. It's 3HL Tour. Subscribe on our YouTube channel, 3HL Tour. Like us, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all of those things. I'm going to leave with one last comment, actually, as I get a few grins from, or eyes rolled. No, I'm just from our producer. No, I'll leave you with one last thought. And I've said this, and I'm sure a lot of people think I'm crazy for saying this, but it is probably the best analogy I can give to the current situation of pro hockey here in Canada and pro hockey players, or Canadian pro hockey players, or Canadian junior hockey players. If we were to say to all of our university graduates from U of T or all universities across Canada, if we were to say to them in all fields, all studies, great, you've graduated, you have a degree, now go find a job in the US or in Europe. You've studied for 15, 20 years here in Canada, you're now 22, you've got a degree, now go get a job elsewhere. They would all say you're crazy. They probably wouldn't pursue that degree. They probably would figure out another way to find a profession that they could work here in Canada. But why then do we do the same thing with our hockey players? Why do we train them? You know, there's 1,000,001 training programs, whether it's minor hockey, you know, off-ice training, you know, look at all the different training centers. I know a lot of the players that play in our league, you know, do a lot of training. Players train year-round now for hockey, which is another debate, whether you should play hockey year-round or not, or play multiple sports. Personally, I think multiple sports is great, but another debate for another time. But the question is, why do we send them to the US? Why do we send them to Europe? Why is there not an opportunity for them to pursue their profession right here in Canada? Anyways, be sure to comment. Let me know what you think. We're going to keep doing this every day, rant after rant. Probably going to bring in different things, got some different ideas. Pat and I might be on tomorrow. But thanks for tuning in. And again, I'm Justin. This is Making the Tour. Have a great evening.